I woke up every morning with the same thought burning in my chest. Just survive one more day. That was all I wanted. No dreams. No hope. Just survival. Get up, you're late again, my sister Lily said from the doorway. I'm coming, I muttered, forcing myself out of bed. She stood there with crossed arms, her face sharp and impatient. If you lose this job, we're done. Do you understand? I understand, I said quietly. She didn't wait for more. The door slammed behind her. I washed my face in cold water, staring at the cracked mirror. My eyes looked hollow. 26 years old, already worn down by life. My father had died young. My mother followed a few years later. Lily was all I had left. I raised her. Fed her. Worked double shifts so she could stay in school. And yet, somehow, I was the burden. At work, Victor Hale was already waiting. You're late, he said, tapping his expensive watch. Again. I'm sorry, sir. Sorry doesn't fix incompetence, he snapped. If you weren't cheap labor, I would have fired you months ago. I clenched my fists. I'll work harder. You always say that. Now move. I need those reports before noon. Yes, sir. All day, he treated me like dirt. He threw files at me. Yelled in front of coworkers. Made me stay late without pay. I swallowed every insult. I needed this job. Lily needed this job. That night, I came home exhausted, carrying cheap takeout. The apartment was dark. Lily? I called. No answer. I checked my phone. No messages. Something felt wrong. Her bedroom door was open. Her bed untouched. Panic crept into my chest. Then my phone buzzed. A text from Victor. Come to the office. Now. My heart sank. When I arrived, the building was nearly empty. His office light was on. I knocked. Come in. I opened the door. And my world shattered. Lily was sitting on his couch, her clothes half undone. Victor stood beside her, adjusting his tie. For a second, my brain refused to understand what my eyes were seeing. Lily? My voice cracked. She froze. Brother. Victor sneered. Looks like you walked in at the wrong time. My chest tightened. What is this? Lily stood up slowly. It's not what you think. Then tell me what it is, I said. My hands shook. She looked away. We love each other. The words slammed into me like a truck. Love? I laughed bitterly. You're sleeping with my boss. Victor crossed his arms. Watch your tone. I stepped forward. You took advantage of her. Lily snapped. No, you took advantage of me. I was tired of being poor. Tired of watching you struggle. Victor gave me a better life. I stared at her. I worked myself half to death for you. And I hated every second of living like a beggar, she said coldly. Something inside me broke. Victor smirked. This conversation is pointless. Security will escort you out. Before I could respond, 2 guards entered. Wait, I said. Lily, look at me. Is this really what you want? She hesitated, then whispered, I want to be happy. The guards grabbed my arms and dragged me out. The next morning, police stormed my apartment. You're under arrest for corporate theft and fraud, one officer said. What? I shouted. I didn't do anything. Tell it to the judge. They handcuffed me in front of my neighbors. My reputation collapsed instantly. At the station, I saw Victor. He leaned close and whispered, "You should have stayed quiet." "You framed me," I hissed. He smiled. "Of course. They fired me. Blacklisted me. No company would hire me. Even friends stopped answering my calls." That night, I went home. Lily stood in the living room. "Why?" I asked. She avoided my eyes. "Victor promised to protect me." "So you destroyed me to save yourself?" She said nothing. I laughed bitterly. "I raised you. And this is how you repay me." She whispered, "You're weak. I'm tired of being dragged down." Her words stabbed deeper than any knife. I packed my clothes and walked out. Rain poured from the sky. I wandered through empty streets, soaked and shaking. Why did I live like this? I whispered. I had nothing. No family. No job. No future. Hunger twisted my stomach. Cold pierced my bones. I collapsed near a closed store, rain washing over my face. Was my life just a mistake? I murmured. Memories flashed. Lily as a child, clinging to my leg. Promising we'd always protect each other. Tears mixed with rain. "I gave you everything," I whispered. Everything. My breathing slowed. Darkness crept in. And then, nothing. I woke up to the same ceiling I had seen for years, but something felt different. My chest ached. My body ached. And then it hit me, I was alive. Again. Where? I whispered to myself. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. A text from Lily, "Don't forget breakfast, brother." I froze. My voice caught. This is impossible. I ran to the mirror. My reflection stared back, young, unbroken. Not the hollow shell that had collapsed in the rain. I touched my face. It was real. My heart pounded. No. No, this can't be real. Then I remembered. Everything. Victor. Lily. The betrayal. The arrest. The humiliation. The cold pavement. The darkness that swallowed me. All of it. I sank onto the bed, gripping my head. If this is real, I have a chance. A second chance. The fear hit next. What if I fail again? Lily knocked. "Are you awake?" I swallowed hard. "Yeah. Breakfast in a minute." She peeked in, smiling. "You look tired. Stay healthy, okay?" I forced a nod. "Yeah. Sure." The door closed, and I exhaled slowly. This time, I won't let them win. I got dressed and went to the kitchen. Lily hummed while frying eggs. I sat across from her, pretending normalcy. "How was work yesterday?" she asked casually. I froze. "Work, fine." She raised an eyebrow. "You don't sound fine." I shrugged. "Just tired." She didn't push further. Not yet. That morning, I went to Victor's office. My pulse raced. I had to act calm, invisible. "Good morning, Hale," I said, placing the coffee on his desk. Victor didn't look up. "You're late." "I got held up," I muttered. He scowled. "Careful." One more mistake, and I smiled faintly. Yes, sir. Inside, I seethed. I remember everything. Every insult. Every moment. Every lie. This time, it will be different. I returned home that night. Lily was on her bed, reading. Long day? I asked casually. Yeah, she said, smiling. But good. You? Same, I lied. I watched her from the doorway. She was still my sister. But I couldn't look at her the same way. The thought of what she would do to me in the future made my stomach churn. I'm going out for a walk, I said abruptly. She looked up. At night? I need fresh air, I said, leaving. The streets were empty. The cold wind burned my skin. I thought about my mistakes. The signs I ignored. The whispers, the small lies, the late-night calls. All of it. A sudden laugh escaped me. This time. I'll be ready. Days passed. I went to work, played the obedient employee, and watched. Victor had his usual arrogance, but I noticed cracks. A misplaced file, a hint of impatience with his assistants. Small things, but I remembered them all. Lily grew restless too. I saw her slipping away into calls, texts, meetings. But I stayed silent. I watched, storing every secret. Every betrayal would become a weapon, every lie a trap. One night, Ethan called. My childhood friend. You sound different, he said. I am, I admitted. Things are changing. You sure? I laughed quietly. Yes. I've got a plan. This time, I won't be a fool. You sound confident. I have to be, I said. If I fail, I lose everything. Again. He paused. I'll help. Whatever you need. Thanks, Ethan. You're the only one I can trust. After the call, I walked to the balcony. Rain began to fall softly. I remembered the rain. That night that killed me. The humiliation, the hunger, the darkness. I clenched my fists. Never again. The next day, I overheard Victor in his office. I don't know if she can be trusted with the promotion, he said to his assistant. I froze. Lily? Yes, his assistant whispered. But she's clever. Ambitious. She'll do anything to succeed. My blood ran cold. She hasn't changed. That night, I approached her room. Lily, we need to talk. She looked up. About what? Life, I said. Choices. What we do, and what we won't do. She tilted her head. You sound serious. I am, I said. Don't trust the wrong people. Don't make mistakes you'll regret. Her smile faltered. I don't know what you mean. I left her room. I won't confront her directly yet. I'll wait. Watch. Plan. The days blurred. I immersed myself in work. I noticed patterns in Victor's behavior, weaknesses in his security, mistakes in his accounting. Everything I saw before, I remembered. At home, Lily continued her calls. At first, I thought of warning her, stopping her. But no. I had learned. Patience. One evening, she asked, You're acting different, aren't you? I sipped water, pretending indifference. Just focused. She nodded. I guess that's good. Very good, I said. You should focus too. The tension between us grew, though she didn't know why. She felt something different in me. I was quieter, calmer. She didn't see the fire burning inside. I began preparing. Small investments. Contacts. Everything I knew from the first life. I smiled faintly as I thought of the day I would rise. Ethan called again. I've never heard you sound like this. It's scary. Good, I said. It should be. I won't fail again. He chuckled. Just promise me you won't let it consume you. I won't, I said, but even I knew I was lying. Each day, I played my part. Submissive employee. Loving brother. Invisible man. Inside, I was anything but invisible. Every memory sharpened me. Every betrayal fueled me. Every word, every glance, every secret, every lie, I stored them. One night, as I walked home, rain began to fall, soft and cold. I stopped under a streetlight. The water dripped down my face, but I smiled. This time. I control everything, I whispered. The second chance felt real. More than real. I could see the path. I could see my revenge, my rise. The lives that had broken me would tremble. Lily would tremble. Victor would tremble. I raised my head to the sky. I will not fail again. Never again. For the first time, hope mingled with rage. A dangerous mix. And I knew, deep in my bones, the next time we met, it would not be mercy that greeted them. It would be justice. My justice. I walked into the night, feeling the storm wash away my past failures. For the first time, I truly felt alive. I arrived at work the next morning with a calm I had never felt before. Victor Hale glanced at me and frowned. You're here early, he said, tapping his watch. Just making sure everything's in order, I replied evenly, keeping my tone neutral. He raised an eyebrow. Don't get cocky. I nodded, pretending obedience. They won't see me coming this time, I thought. For the rest of the morning, I worked quietly, taking every insult and criticism without a word. Victor tossed files at me. You call this organized? He snapped. Yes, sir, I said calmly. My pulse was steady. Every word I had for him, the rage, the threats, the humiliation, I swallowed. I was patient now. Silent. Waiting. Later, in the break room, Ethan appeared, leaning against the counter. You're acting different, he said. I have to be, I replied. I can't afford mistakes anymore. You sound like you're planning something, he said cautiously. I am, I said. But not yet. Patience, Ethan. Timing is everything. He frowned. Just promise me you won't lose yourself in it. I smirked. Don't worry. I won't. He looked at me, unsure whether to believe it. By mid-afternoon, I noticed Lily walking past the office window. She was on her phone, whispering. I saw her smile, and something inside me twisted. She hasn't changed, I muttered under my breath. Victor appeared behind me. What did you say? Nothing, sir, I said immediately, spinning a smile onto my face. Just reviewing the reports. He grunted. Good. Keep it up. After work, I walked past a cafe where Lily often lingered. I saw her laughing with some man I didn't recognize. My stomach sank. I clenched my fists. Not yet, I reminded myself. Patience. That evening, I sat in my apartment, counting coins, reviewing notes. I remembered everything from the life I had lost, every mistake, every betrayal. I picked up the phone. "Ethan," I said. "You sound serious," he said. "I am," I said. "We need to start small. Investments, contacts, groundwork. Everything has to be precise." He chuckled softly. "Sounds like you're building an empire in secret." "Exactly," I said. "They won't see it coming." "Just don't burn yourself out," he warned. "I won't. Not this time." The next morning, I noticed Lily lingering near my building. She looked different somehow, more confident, more reckless. I smiled faintly. Perfect. She's slipping already. I walked past her without acknowledgement. She hesitated, then moved along. She thinks I'm weak. That's good, I thought. Inside, Victor barked orders at everyone. I listened quietly, noticing mistakes he made. Missed emails, careless scheduling, staff complaints. Small cracks forming in his empire. During lunch, I met Ethan at the park. "I've been thinking," he said. "You can't just stay silent forever. You'll have to act eventually." "I know," I said. "But not yet. Let them dig their own hole. I'll pull the ladder out when the time comes." He raised an eyebrow. "You sound cold." I shrugged. Cold beats crushed. "Back at home," Lily called. "Hey," she said, cheerful. "Do you want to go for coffee?" I paused. "Can't. Busy." She frowned. "You're acting strange." "I'm focusing," I said. "You should too." The line went quiet. "Whatever you say," she muttered, hanging up. I smirked. She notices nothing. Over the next few days, I began testing Victor subtly. Small mistakes, slightly delayed reports, quiet observations. He barked, snapped, fumed, but I stayed calm. I made notes of every weakness, every flaw, every moment he exposed himself. Lily continued her calls, her secret meetings. I observed silently, careful not to reveal what I knew. Every lie she told, every manipulation, every betrayal, I recorded in my mind. One evening, I approached Ethan. "Ready for round 2?" he asked. "I've already begun," I said. "Every secret, every weakness, they're mine now. I just need patience." He nodded. "You're not scared?" I laughed softly. "Scared doesn't get results. Fear is wasted energy. I have focus." That night, I practiced control. I spoke in front of the mirror. "Victor Hale, Lily, you will not see me coming. I will rise. I will own everything. And you will crumble beneath me." The words felt good. Powerful. Dangerous. Just like I remember feeling before I died, I thought. I started small. Investments, trades, contacts I knew from the future. I smiled as I watched my money grow. Slowly, silently, invisibly. Lily noticed my change. She approached me one night. "You're different," she said. I nodded. "Focused. You should focus too." Her eyes narrowed. "You're hiding something." "Maybe," I said lightly. "Or maybe I've just learned to control myself." Her frown deepened. "You've always been too obedient. But now." "Now," I said softly, "I've learned patience." She stared, sensing the change but not knowing its depth. Perfect. The weeks passed. My investments grew. My knowledge of Victor's habits expanded. Lily's arrogance increased. She assumed I was still weak. She assumed I would never fight back. I smiled quietly. She's wrong. So wrong. One night, Ethan called again. They're close to making a huge mistake, he said. I know, I said. They're playing into my hands. You're scary calm about all this, he said. I've seen the alternative, I said. I've lived it. This time, I'm choosing silence over anger. I'm choosing control over chaos. I'm choosing power over weakness. He didn't argue. He knew. He had seen the old me. The broken me. The me that almost died in the rain. That memory lingered. I closed my eyes. The rain, the cold, the darkness. The humiliation. The betrayal. The pain. I swallowed hard. Never again, I whispered. The next morning, I went to work as usual. I delivered reports. Smiled at Victor's insults. Ignored Lily's glances. Inside, I was alive with fire. Every betrayal, every insult, every memory, I stored it carefully. Every secret would be a weapon. Every mistake would be an opportunity. And I knew, sooner or later, they would learn that I had changed. I had learned patience. I had learned silence. I had learned power. And when the time came, they would pay. For now, though, I waited. I waited quietly. Calmly. Invisibly. But the fire inside me burned hotter than ever. And one day soon, I would strike. I walked into the office that morning with a calm I had never shown before. Victor was already pacing. "You're here early," he said, eyes narrowing. "Yes, sir," I replied evenly. "I thought I'd get a head start." He snorted. "Watch it. Don't let ambition get in the way of your incompetence." I smiled faintly. "Yes, sir." Inside, I worked quietly. Every report, every email, every number, I memorized it. Small errors Victor overlooked, small cracks he ignored, I stored them. Every weakness would become a weapon later. During lunch, Ethan joined me at the park. "You've been busy," he said. "Observing," I said. "Learning. Building." "Building?" "You'll see," I said. "Patience is key. They're making mistakes without realizing it." He frowned. "You're not thinking of revenge yet, are you?" "I'm thinking of survival first." "Revenge comes later," I said, smiling faintly. "And when it comes, it will be precise." He nodded slowly. "You've changed." Cold, calculated. "I like it, but don't lose yourself in it." "I won't," I said. But even I wasn't sure if that was true. Back at the office, I overheard Victor berating an assistant. "How could you let this happen?" he snapped. "Do you want me to lose everything?" I took note. He was careless. He trusted people blindly. His empire had cracks, and I knew exactly where to strike. Later that night, Lily called. "Hey, working late again?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "Busy day." "You always work so hard," she said, almost admiringly. "I don't know how you do it." "Discipline," I said. "Something you might consider practicing." She laughed lightly. "Maybe. But some of us prefer results over struggle." I forced a chuckle. "Just remember, results without effort are fragile." She paused. "You're different. I can feel it." "I've changed," I said simply. Her sigh carried something I recognized: curiosity, unease, suspicion. Good. The next day, I started my small investments. Online trading, real estate, stocks. I remembered every surge, every crash from the life I had lost. I used the knowledge to grow quickly, quietly. Ethan checked in. Wow. You're serious about this. I have to be, I said. I'm not the same man I was. Every coin I earn, every move I make, they think I'm still weak. They don't see me coming. You're careful, though. Not flashy. Exactly, I said. I build in silence. Their arrogance will destroy them. Meanwhile, Victor flaunted Lily's promotions. She smiled, basked in attention, unaware of how fragile her new position was. One evening, I overheard her talking on the phone. I just want what I deserve, she said. Are you sure it's worth it? A voice asked. I've worked for it. Everyone else is weak. Victor knows it, she replied. I smiled quietly. Exactly. I attended the office party a few days later. Victor boasted about profits. Lily laughed, leaning on him, proud. I stayed in the background, unnoticed. Observing. Recording every slip, every lie, every arrogant smile. Everything's perfect, Victor said loudly. Nothing can go wrong. I noted his words carefully. Never say that. That's when empires fall. At home, Lily tried to engage me. You're quiet these days, she said. I'm focused, I replied. You should be too. She frowned. You're hiding something. I'm not hiding anything, I said. I just learned patience. She narrowed her eyes. Patience? With what? I didn't answer. Let her wonder. Let her fear. Soon, she'll know the difference between the man she underestimated and the man I've become. The next morning, I ran into Ethan. You're moving fast, he said. These investments, they're growing already. I know, I said. And Victor doesn't notice. Lily doesn't notice. They think I'm still a nobody. You're careful, he said. Not to provoke them yet. Yes, I said. Let them make mistakes. Let them build their lies. They do it so willingly. Back at the office, Victor chewed out an intern for a minor error. I suppressed a smirk. He was reckless, emotional, arrogant, everything I remembered. Lily walked past, smiling at him. Her ambition blinded her. She was a puppet on a golden leash. And I would pull the strings later. That night, I reviewed my accounts. Each trade, each investment was doubling quietly. Every step built a foundation for what was coming. I practiced restraint. Patience. Silence. Power. I smiled faintly at the thought of the day I would reveal myself. Ethan asked, You're not tempted to act now? No, I said firmly. Not yet. Let them crumble by their own hands. Every arrogance, every lie, every betrayal, they'll set the trap themselves. He nodded. You're really different. Yes, I said softly. I'm someone they'll never recognize. Someone they'll fear. Over the next week, I observed Lily more closely. Every late-night call, every secret meeting. Every sign of greed and ambition. I stayed quiet, storing it all. Victor continued his reckless management. He made decisions I knew would cost him millions. Small errors, overlooked contracts, missing approvals. I watched silently. I started laying groundwork in the company. Friends, colleagues, contacts I remembered from my previous life. I reached out quietly. No one suspected a thing. One night, Lily knocked on my door. "You're different," she said, almost accusingly. I smiled faintly. "Focused. Patient. You should try it sometime." She frowned. "I don't know what's going on with you. You feel dangerous." "Good," I said softly. "Let them think that. Let them underestimate me. That's their mistake." She shook her head. "I don't like it." I didn't reply. Silence spoke louder than words. That night, Ethan called. "They're close to a huge mistake," he said. "I know," I replied. "They don't see it coming. Lily, Victor, they think they're untouchable. They're wrong." "You're scary calm," he said. "I've lived once already," I said. "I've seen the consequences of failure. I will not fail again. Not this time." I sat back, thinking of the day I collapsed in the rain, powerless, humiliated, betrayed. Not again. The fire inside me burned brighter. Every betrayal, every insult, every moment of despair, I would turn it into power. And when the time came, they would realize the man they underestimated was not the same one they thought they knew. Victor's empire, Lily's ambition, they would crumble, and I would rise from the ashes. Patience. Silence. Power. That was my plan. And one day soon, they would pay. For now, though, I watched. Quietly. Calmly. Strategically. I built my empire while they built their lies. The office was buzzing with excitement the next morning. Victor was in his element, showing off quarterly numbers to his board. Lily clung to his arm, smiling like the world belonged to her. I stayed quiet, observing from the back. Every laugh, every boast, every arrogant glance, they were blind to the storm I was quietly building. Victor noticed me out of the corner of his eye. "Why are you standing there?" he barked. "I'm just making sure everything's running smoothly," I said evenly. He grunted, satisfied for the moment, and returned to his self-aggrandizing speech. After the meeting, Ethan appeared at my side. "They really think they've won, huh?" he whispered. "They do," I said softly. "And that's perfect. Let them feel untouchable. Let them believe their empire is secure. Their arrogance will be their downfall." He nodded, clearly impressed but also worried. "You're really playing the long game." "Patience, Ethan," I said. "Timing is everything. I've waited once. I won't waste this second chance." Later that day, Lily appeared at my desk, holding a folder. "You're unusually quiet," she said, her tone playful but suspicious. "I like it." "Just focused," I replied. "Something you might try." She laughed lightly, leaning closer. "You know, you used to be predictable. Now, I can't read you at all." "Maybe you've underestimated me before," I said, keeping my tone casual. She frowned. "Underestimated? Don't be dramatic." I let the comment slide. Let her think she's winning. Let her think I'm the same weak brother she remembers. That night, Ethan and I met at our usual cafe. "You're not tempted to confront them yet?" he asked. "Not yet," I said. "Let them enjoy their victory. Let them revel in the illusion of power. It makes the moment of reckoning sweeter." He leaned back, shaking his head. "You've become ruthless." "I've become careful," I corrected. "Ruthless comes later." Over the next week, I quietly strengthened my position. Investments multiplied. Contacts from my previous life responded to my calls. Information flowed to me unnoticed. Every piece of Victor's empire I once observed now became a tool for my advantage. Meanwhile, Victor flaunted Lily's promotions. He held meetings praising her achievements. She basked in the attention, laughing and flirting openly. One night, I overheard her conversation on the phone. "I just want everything I deserve," she said. "And you think you will get it?" the voice asked. "Of course," she said. "Victor knows my value. He's invested in me." I smiled quietly. Exactly what I need. Overconfidence. Arrogance. Blind ambition. The following day, I played the obedient employee again, delivering reports with precision, keeping my face neutral while noting every flaw Victor displayed. Misplaced numbers. Minor delays. Staff complaints ignored. Every error was recorded in my mind. Every weakness stored. During lunch, Ethan leaned in. "They don't even suspect you," he said. "Exactly," I said. "Let them feel safe. That's when they make the biggest mistakes." He hesitated. "Do you ever think about what you'll say when the time comes?" I smirked faintly. "Words aren't necessary. Actions speak louder. Every empire has cracks, and I know exactly where to strike." Back at home, Lily tried to pry. "You're acting strange," she said, leaning against the doorframe. "I'm focused," I said casually. "You might consider it too." "You're hiding something," she said, narrowing her eyes. "Or maybe I've just learned patience," I replied. Her expression faltered for a moment. "Patience?" "Yes," I said softly. "It's a powerful weapon, if you know how to use it." She shook her head and walked away, frustrated. Good. Let her wonder. Over the next few days, I continued building silently. Every trade, every contact, every small victory went unnoticed by Victor and Lily. I watched them celebrate minor achievements, proud of themselves, unaware that I was preparing the foundation to destroy everything they thought secure. Victor remained arrogant, making careless mistakes. He trusted everyone blindly. I observed quietly, storing each misstep in my mind. Lily's ambition and greed made her blind to her brother's transformation. She believed she was untouchable, her loyalty to Victor giving her confidence. I smiled at the thought. They have no idea. One evening, Lily tried to engage me again. "You're indifferent," she said, her voice tinged with accusation. "Focused," I said evenly. "You should try it sometime." Her eyes narrowed. "You're hiding something." "Perhaps," I said lightly. "Or perhaps I've just learned how to survive." She frowned, sensing my change but not knowing its depth. Perfect. The next morning, I overheard Victor bragging to an assistant. "She's invaluable," he said of Lily. "With her by my side, I can't lose." I smiled faintly. Confidence makes people reckless. At lunch, Ethan approached. "They're walking right into it," he whispered. "Yes," I said. "Every mistake they make, every lie they tell, every arrogant smile, it builds the trap. They'll never see it coming." He shook his head. "You're scary calm about all this." "I've lived once already," I said softly. "I know the price of failure. I will not fail again. Not this time." That night, I reviewed my investments. My wealth had quietly multiplied. My influence was growing, unseen. Every move I had made in my previous life gave me an advantage now. Victor and Lily assumed they were untouchable, but I was ready to tip the scales. I went to bed that night with a calm that bordered on satisfaction. I didn't feel anger anymore. I didn't need it. Silence and patience were far more powerful than any outburst. I thought about Lily's smug smile, Victor's arrogance, their delusions of security. Let them enjoy their victory, I whispered. The fall is coming, and they will be powerless to stop it. The rain started outside, soft against the windows. I remembered the last time rain had fallen, the night that had ended my previous life. Not this time, I said. I control everything now. Every betrayal, every insult, every humiliation I had endured, I would turn them into tools of my revenge. Not yet, though. Not until the moment was perfect. Victor and Lily would not suspect me until it was too late. Their arrogance, their greed, their misplaced confidence, it would all work against them. I poured a final cup of coffee, staring at the dark city outside. This time, I rise, I whispered. And they will regret every choice they've ever made. Ethan's voice echoed in my mind, patience, timing, silence. I nodded to myself. Yes. Every empire has cracks. They've built theirs on arrogance. I will pull it apart piece by piece. And as I looked at the night sky, rain dripping down the window, I finally felt the dangerous mix of hope and rage, the perfect fuel for what was coming. They believed they had won. But they were already losing. I arrived at the office that morning with the quiet confidence I had been cultivating. Victor was already barking orders at his assistants. Did you double-check the numbers? He snapped at one of them. Yes, sir, the young man replied nervously. Victor scowled. No. I said triple-check. I can't have mistakes in my department. I stayed at my desk, pretending to type, observing everything. Small cracks were appearing. Sloppy work, rushed emails, overlooked files. I smiled faintly. Patience is paying off. During lunch, Ethan appeared at my usual spot in the park. They're starting to slip, he said. Victor made a huge oversight this morning. I noticed, I said calmly. And Lily? She's too arrogant to see it. Ethan leaned in. So, do we act now? Not yet, I said softly. We observe. We wait. The pressure they're under will make them reveal more of their weakness. Let them dig the pit themselves. Later that day, Lily came by my desk, holding a stack of files. You're awfully quiet, she said, smiling. I like it. Just focused, I replied evenly. You should try it sometime. Her eyes narrowed. Something's different about you. I can feel it. I shrugged. Maybe I've just learned patience. She tilted her head. Patience? Or are you hiding something? Maybe both, I said lightly. Let her wonder. Fear makes people sloppy. Victor passed by, slamming his fist on the desk. I need those reports by tomorrow morning. No excuses. Yes, sir, I said calmly, hiding the satisfaction I felt inside. Every order, every panic, it all plays into my hands. That night, I met Ethan at our cafe. You're still holding back, he said. You could strike now. Victor's empire is already unstable. I know, I said. But timing is everything. The first strike must be precise. They can't suspect me. Let them crumble on their own arrogance. He nodded slowly. You're scary calm about all this. I've seen the alternative, I said. Failure is too costly. I will not fail again. Back at home, Lily knocked on my door. "You're acting different," she said, suspiciously. "Focused," I replied casually. "Something you might consider." Her frown deepened. "You're hiding something." "Or maybe I've just learned control," I said softly. Her eyes lingered on me. "Control? That sounds dangerous." "Good," I said. "Let her know the man she underestimated is no longer the same." The following morning, Victor discovered an error in a major contract. He panicked, yelling at assistants, demanding explanations. I smiled quietly. He was already unraveling. Lily walked past my desk later, laughing at some joke Victor made. Her arrogance was palpable. She assumed she was untouchable. Exactly as planned. At lunch, Ethan whispered, "They're making mistakes faster than you predicted." "I know," I said softly. "Every arrogant word, every careless decision, they're paving the way for my revenge. Timing is everything." After work, I checked my investments. They had quietly grown beyond what I had imagined. My financial foundation was solid. Soon, I would have the leverage to strike. That night, I watched the rain fall, remembering the night I had died once. This time, I was alive, powerful, and patient. The next day, Victor made another blunder, approving a contract with missing signatures. He raged in his office while Lily flailed in meetings. Every mistake, every misstep, every moment of chaos, it fueled me. During a quiet moment, I approached Lily. "You seem stressed," I said casually. She smiled thinly. "I'm fine. Just a lot to manage." "Don't forget," I said softly, "even the tallest towers can fall if their foundations are weak." She laughed lightly. Poetic, but unnecessary. I let her believe she had dismissed me. They both underestimate me completely. The following week, Victor faced a client complaint over mishandled funds. Panic swept through the office. He yelled at everyone, blaming them for his mistakes. I stayed calm, taking notes, recording every slip, storing every weakness. At home, Lily tried to engage me again. "You're different," she said, suspicion evident in her voice. "Focused," I said casually. "Maybe you should be too." Her frown deepened. "You're hiding something." "Or maybe I've just learned patience," I replied. Let her stew in uncertainty. I smiled to myself that night. The first cracks have appeared. They feel powerful, untouchable, but they're already falling apart. Ethan called, voice tense. "Victor made another error today. This is bigger than you expected." "I've seen it coming," I said calmly. The more they believe they're in control, the faster their downfall will come. Let them dig their own pit. "You're really patient," he said. "It's impressive and terrifying." "I've learned from failure," I said softly. "Patience is power. Silence is strength." And soon, their arrogance will be their undoing. Back at the office, Victor panicked over missing reports, blaming Lily for the delays. She snapped at him, frustration turning to rage. I observed quietly, noting every argument, every shout, every weakness. At home, I reviewed my plans. Every investment, every contact, every observation was aligned. Every error Victor made, every overreach Lily displayed, would be used against them. I thought of the first time I had died, humiliated, betrayed, powerless. The memory burned inside me. "Not this time," I whispered. "I control everything now." The rain fell again, soft and relentless. I smiled. It reminded me of the night I had lost everything. This time, I rise. Ethan's voice echoed in my mind, patience, timing, silence. Yes. Patience. Victor and Lily believed they had already won. But the cracks had appeared. And soon, they would feel the first consequences of their arrogance. I would wait. I would watch. I would strike. And when that day came, they would realize the man they underestimated was no longer the same boy they had betrayed. The first cracks had formed. And from those cracks, I would build my revenge. The morning air in the office felt heavier than usual. Victor was pacing like a caged animal, throwing papers at his assistants. "This is unacceptable," he shouted. "I told you, no mistakes. No mistakes." I stayed at my desk, pretending to read a report, noting every slip. His arrogance was unraveling faster than I anticipated. During lunch, Ethan appeared at my usual spot in the park, sipping coffee. "They're already starting to feel it," he whispered. "I know," I said calmly. "Every careless word, every rushed decision, they're digging their own pit." "You're not going to confront them yet?" he asked, clearly anxious. "Not yet," I said. "The first blows must be subtle. Pain without suspicion. They must feel it slowly, like a drip of poison they can't trace." Ethan nodded, impressed and wary. "You're terrifyingly patient." "I've lived through failure," I said softly. "Patience is my weapon now. Silence is my shield." Back at the office, Lily walked past my desk, laughing with a colleague. I caught a glimpse of her phone. It was another secret conversation. She didn't notice me watching. Perfect. Later, Victor summoned me to his office. "You messed up the Thompson report," he snapped. "I double-checked it, sir," I said evenly. "No. It's still off," he barked. I suppressed a smirk. "The first cracks are forming." "I'll fix it immediately," I said calmly. "And I'll make sure it doesn't happen again." He grunted, satisfied for the moment, and returned to his desk. I left, heart steady, knowing that every moment he panicked, every word he yelled, strengthened my advantage. That night, Ethan called. "They made a big error today," he said. "Victor approved the wrong contract. Millions are at risk." "I know," I replied calmly. "And Lily's arrogance ensures she won't notice. They're walking into their own traps." "You really aren't tempted to strike now?" he asked. "Not yet," I said. "Patience. Timing. The moment will come when they least expect it." The following day, Lily approached me with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "You're acting different," she said. "I can feel it." "Focused," I replied evenly. "You might want to try it sometime." She frowned. "You're hiding something." "Or maybe I've just learned how to survive," I said softly. Let her stew in uncertainty. Her eyes lingered on me. "Survival? That sounds dangerous." "Exactly," I said. Let her know the man she underestimated is no longer the same. That afternoon, Victor made another blunder, approving a shipment with missing documentation. Panic spread through the office. He yelled at assistants, blaming Lily for the oversight. She snapped back, frustration turning into rage. I watched quietly, storing every moment, every flaw, every crack in their empire. Soon, every mistake will serve my purpose. During lunch, Ethan leaned closer. "They're slipping faster than expected," he said. "Victor's authority is already questioned by his team. And Lily, she's making reckless calls." "I know," I said softly. "Every decision, every emotion, they're paving the way for my revenge. They think they're in control, but they've already lost the first battles. Back at home, Lily knocked on my door again. "You're different," she said, suspicion evident in her voice. "Focused," I said casually. "Maybe you should be too." "You're hiding something," she said, narrowing her eyes. "Or maybe I've just learned patience," I replied. "Perfect." Her frown deepened. "Patience? For what?" "I'll show you soon enough," I said softly, leaving her in uncertainty. The next morning, I noticed Victor's frustration had grown. Meetings ran longer, tempers flared, minor errors were punished with exaggerated rage. Each day, his empire became slightly more unstable. Lily's arrogance increased too. She flaunted her successes, laughed openly, and ignored subtle warnings. Exactly what I need. Blind confidence. During a coffee break, Ethan whispered, "They're already feeling pressure. Small mistakes, but they're accumulating. Your timing is perfect." "I know," I said. Subtle blows. Pain without suspicion. That's how you dismantle someone who believes they are untouchable. Later that week, I noticed a serious mistake in Victor's financial report, a figure duplicated, contracts missing signatures. I waited, watching him handle the chaos poorly. Lily tried to cover for him, but her arrogance made her miscalculate. She failed to notice errors in the client's documents. The first subtle cracks in their perfect world had appeared. That night, I met Ethan. "They're making mistakes I didn't think possible," he said, amazed. "I anticipated them," I said calmly. "Patience is the weapon. Every error they make is a step toward their ruin. And I've prepared to exploit each one." "You're really calm about all this," he said. "I've lived through failure," I said softly. "I've seen what losing feels like. Calm is my armor. Silence is my advantage." Back at the office, Victor yelled at a junior assistant over an incorrectly filed contract. Lily argued with a client, misreading their expectations. Every small blow they received, the first cracks in confidence, the first fraying of authority, I recorded in my mind. I stayed calm, neutral, invisible. My face betrayed nothing. My patience would make their downfall more satisfying. Later, Lily came to my desk again. "You're different," she said, her tone sharp with suspicion. "Focused," I said evenly. "Something you might consider." "You're hiding something," she said. "Or maybe I've just learned how to survive," I said softly. Let her stew. "Fear makes mistakes." Her eyes lingered. "Survival? That sounds dangerous." "Exactly," I said. Let her understand that the brother she betrayed is no longer the same boy she remembers. Over the next few days, Victor's mistakes accumulated. Minor errors compounded into major problems. Lily's overconfidence amplified each one. Their team whispered behind closed doors, questioning decisions and leadership. I continued building silently. My investments grew. Contacts responded. Information flowed unnoticed. Every small blow they received became a step closer to their ruin. I watched them celebrate their victories, oblivious to the fact that every triumph was built on shaky foundations. One night, I stood by the window, rain dripping down the glass. I remembered the night I had died once, broken and betrayed. "Not this time," I whispered. "I control everything now." Ethan's voice echoed in my mind, patience, timing, silence. I smiled. Yes. Patience. The first cracks are appearing. The subtle blows are working. Victor and Lily believed they were untouchable. They believed they had already won. But they were already losing. And when the time came, they would feel every consequence of their arrogance. I would wait. I would observe. I would strike. And the moment would be perfect. The first cracks had become small blows. And small blows, I knew, could collapse an empire. The office felt different that morning. Tension hung in the air like a storm about to break. Victor's usual confidence was brittle. He barked orders, but his voice wavered slightly, betraying his unease. "You can't let this happen again," he shouted at an assistant over a minor spreadsheet error. "Yes, sir," the assistant mumbled, fear in their eyes. I leaned back in my chair, pretending to focus on my own work, but inside, I was watching, noting every reaction, every slip, every weakness. The walls they built around their empire were already crumbling. During lunch, Ethan joined me in the park. "They're starting to panic," he said quietly. "I've noticed," I replied calmly. "Victor's authority is fragile. Lily's overconfidence is unraveling the team. Every small mistake has amplified their stress. It's perfect." Ethan shook his head. "You're patient, too patient. Don't you want to strike now?" "Not yet," I said softly. "The more they flail, the more they dig their own pit. Let them think they're winning. When the time comes, the fall will be inevitable." Back at the office, Lily came by my desk, her smile tight. "You're acting strange," she said. "Focused," I replied evenly. "Something you might try." Her eyes narrowed. "You're hiding something." "Maybe," I said lightly. "Let her stew. Let her fear. Fear makes mistakes." Victor stormed past, muttering curses under his breath. He glanced at me, suspicion flashing briefly, then turned away. I let him think I was still obedient, still weak. That evening, I reviewed my investments and contacts. Everything was growing quietly, steadily, just as I had planned. I had the resources, the information, and the patience. All that remained was the right moment. The next day, Victor made another critical error. He signed a contract without confirming key clauses. I noticed it immediately. The assistant beside him panicked. Lily tried to cover, but her arrogance caused her to miscalculate. The cracks in their perfect world widened. During lunch, Ethan whispered, "They're slipping faster than you anticipated." "I know," I said calmly. "Every error, every careless decision, they're building the trap themselves. Timing is everything. Let the walls crumble naturally." Back at my desk, Lily leaned close. "You're different," she said, voice sharp with suspicion. "Focused," I said evenly. "You might consider it." Her eyes narrowed. "You're hiding something." "Or maybe I've just learned patience," I replied softly. Her frown deepened. "Patience? For what?" "For survival," I said lightly. "And sometimes, patience is the deadliest weapon." She shook her head, unsure, and walked away. Perfect. Let her fear without knowing why. Later that afternoon, Victor yelled at the finance team. Minor mistakes had compounded into major errors. Contracts missing signatures. Mismanaged accounts. Clients complaining. His arrogance had blinded him, and his team was crumbling. I observed quietly. Every failure, every flaw, every fracture, it all worked in my favor. I didn't intervene. I let them flounder, making the first strikes of their own undoing. That evening, I met Ethan. "They're panicking," he said. "Victor can't keep control. And Lily, she's starting to lose her cool too." Good, I said softly. Small cracks, small blows. Let them think they can recover. Let them think they're still winning. The bigger the illusion, the harder the fall. You're terrifyingly calm, he said. I've learned from failure, I replied. Calm is strength. Silence is power. And patience is my weapon. Everything else will follow. Back at home, Lily tried to engage me again. You're different, she said, suspicion in her voice. Focused, I said evenly. Something you might try. You're hiding something, she said. Or maybe I've just learned control, I replied softly. Let her stew in uncertainty. The following morning, I noticed the tension had spread. The staff whispered, meetings ran long, and Victor's patience had evaporated. He snapped over minor errors. Lily argued with clients, made reckless decisions, and ignored subtle warnings. Every day, their walls cracked a little more. During a quiet moment, Ethan leaned in. The first cracks are becoming visible to everyone, he said. Exactly, I said softly. The first blows don't have to be loud. They just need to weaken their foundation. And theirs is already faltering. At lunch, I saw Lily misread a client's instructions and commit to an impossible deadline. Her arrogance blinded her to reality. Victor failed to notice the error until it was too late. Panic spread through the office. I smiled quietly. Perfect. Back at my desk, I continued my own quiet growth. Investments, contacts, subtle manipulations, I built my empire while their world fell apart. My patience was paying off, and the first cracks had become undeniable. That night, I reflected on the past. The nights I had spent starving, powerless, betrayed. The humiliation and heartbreak that had nearly killed me. I had risen from that darkness, stronger, smarter, and patient. Not this time, I whispered. I control everything now. Ethan called. They're panicking more than you thought, he said. Victor's losing credibility. Lily's decisions are being questioned by the board. Small mistakes, but big consequences. I know, I said calmly. Every arrogant decision, every lapse in judgment, every unearned victory, they're paving the way for the collapse. Let them feel safe, let them feel powerful. The fall will be sweeter that way. Back at the office, Victor yelled at his assistant over a misfiled document. Lily snapped at a client over a minor misunderstanding. I stayed calm, neutral, invisible, noting every misstep, every crack, every frayed thread of their empire. Small blows were creating big consequences. Their world, built on arrogance and betrayal, was starting to crumble. And I was ready to strike the moment the foundation fully weakened. Later that night, I stood by the window, rain dripping down the glass. I remembered the night I had died once, broken, betrayed, powerless. This time, I rise, I whispered. And they will feel every consequence of their arrogance. Ethan's words echoed in my mind, patience, timing, silence. Yes. Patience. Victor and Lily believed they were untouchable. But their walls had cracks. And those cracks were becoming wide enough for me to slip through. The first blows had been delivered by their own arrogance. And soon, the collapse would be undeniable. I would strike. And they would have no idea it was coming. The office was chaotic that morning. Victor stormed around like a man losing control, shouting at assistants, blaming staff for mistakes that weren't theirs. This is unacceptable, he bellowed. I can't believe this happened under my watch. I stayed at my desk, calm, pretending to focus on reports, while inside I was smiling. Every small error, every oversight, every crack in their perfect world was exactly what I needed. During lunch, Ethan joined me at the park. "They're finally feeling it," he said quietly. "Victor can't keep his composure. Lily's arrogance is starting to backfire." "Exactly," I said softly. "Every misstep, every careless word, they're setting themselves up for failure. Patience is paying off." Ethan shook his head. "You're not tempted to act now? Strike before it gets worse?" "Not yet," I said evenly. "The bigger the illusion of control, the more satisfying the collapse will be. Let them believe they're untouchable. Let them make more mistakes. The cracks must widen naturally." Back at the office, Lily passed by, holding a folder. She smiled at a colleague and didn't notice me watching her phone light up with another secret message. Her arrogance blinded her to everything. Perfect. Later, Victor called a meeting. "Why are these reports late?" he barked at the team. "Sir, I triple-checked," one assistant stammered. "Triple-checking isn't enough," he snapped. "I need results, not excuses." I watched silently, noting his temper and the growing fear among the staff. Each outburst weakened their authority. After the meeting, Lily approached me quietly. "You're different," she said. "I can feel it. Something about you." "Focused," I replied evenly. "Something you might try." Her eyes narrowed. "You're hiding something." "Or maybe I've just learned patience," I said softly. "Patience? For what?" she demanded. "For survival," I said lightly. "And sometimes, patience is the deadliest weapon." Her frown deepened. "You're not the same person I knew." "I can feel it." I let her simmer in that thought. Fear was already making her reckless. That afternoon, Victor made another critical mistake. He approved a client's contract with incorrect terms, which could cost the company millions. Lily didn't catch it in time, confident in her own judgment. Panic spread through the office. During lunch, Ethan whispered, "They're slipping faster than you thought. Their confidence is shaken." "I know," I said softly. "Every error, every oversight, every arrogant decision, they're unraveling themselves. Let the first cracks become visible to everyone." Back at my desk, I reviewed my investments and contacts. Everything had grown quietly, steadily, exactly as planned. I had the leverage I needed. Soon, the consequences of their arrogance would hit them hard. That evening, Lily knocked on my door. "You're different," she said, suspicion in her voice. "Focused," I replied evenly. "Something you might try." "You're hiding something," she said, narrowing her eyes. "Or maybe I've just learned control," I said softly. Let her stew in uncertainty. Her frown deepened. "Control? That sounds dangerous." "Exactly," I said. Let her know the brother she betrayed is no longer the same boy she remembers. The following morning, the cracks had widened. Staff whispered in corners. Minor errors had grown into major setbacks. Victor's authority was questioned openly by assistants and colleagues. Lily's decisions were criticized by clients and even the board. I stayed calm, silent, invisible, noting every misstep, every crack, every fraying thread of their empire. Soon, every mistake will serve my purpose. During a quiet moment, Ethan leaned in. "They're finally showing signs of panic," he said. "Victor's credibility is slipping. Lily's arrogance is undermining her authority." "Good," I said softly. The first blows were subtle. The cracks are visible now. Every step they take is closer to collapse. Let them feel safe. Let them believe they can recover. The fall will be inevitable and satisfying. At lunch, I noticed Lily misread a client's instructions again and committed to an impossible deadline. Her arrogance blinded her to reality. Victor failed to notice until it was too late. Panic spread through the office. I smiled quietly. Perfect. Later, Victor called me into his office. "You're more competent than I thought," he said, tension in his voice. "But don't think I trust you fully." "Understood," I said evenly. Let him feel a false sense of superiority. Let him think he's noticed me, but not realized the depth of my transformation. Back at my desk, I noted Lily's errors, Victor's blunders, and the growing unease in the office. Small blows had become undeniable consequences. Their world, built on arrogance and betrayal, was crumbling before my eyes. That night, I reflected on the past, the nights I had spent starving, powerless, betrayed. The humiliation and heartbreak that had nearly killed me. I had risen from that darkness, stronger, smarter, patient. "Not this time," I whispered. "I control everything now." Ethan's words echoed in my mind: patience, timing, silence. "Yes. Patience," I murmured. "The cracks are visible. The first blows are real. Soon, they will understand that they are no longer in control." The next day, Victor made yet another error, miscalculating an important shipment. The board noticed. Emails arrived questioning his leadership. Lily panicked in client meetings. I stayed calm, silent, observing, storing every weakness, every crack in their empire. Small blows had become consequences they could no longer ignore. Their walls were crumbling. And I was ready. Back at home, I looked at my reflection in the mirror. The man staring back wasn't weak. He wasn't betrayed. He wasn't powerless. He was patient, calculated, and ready. Victor and Lily believed they were untouchable. But the walls they had built were already collapsing. And soon, they would feel the full weight of their arrogance. The first cracks had grown. The small blows had become undeniable consequences. I would wait. I would observe. I would strike. And the moment would be perfect. Their empire was crumbling, and I was ready to finish what they had started, the destruction of everything they had built on betrayal and arrogance. The office was silent when I arrived that morning. Something had shifted. Victor's usual confident stride was replaced with hesitation. His eyes darted nervously, scanning the room as if expecting disaster at every corner. I smiled faintly to myself. Perfect timing. Ethan appeared beside me quietly. "They've already noticed the cracks," he whispered. "I know," I said calmly. "And today, they'll experience consequences they can't ignore. Every misstep, every arrogance-fueled decision, it all leads to this." Victor stormed past me, papers in hand, his voice trembling with frustration. "Where is the Thompson report?" he demanded. "I've prepared it, sir," I said evenly, sliding the folder across his desk. He glanced at it, confusion flashing in his eyes. This is accurate?" "Yes, sir," I replied softly. Let him feel the sudden shift. Let him realize he is no longer in control. Meanwhile, Lily approached, her usual smugness replaced with visible tension. You fixed it?" she asked, incredulous. "Yes," I said. "It's done. But perhaps next time, you'll double-check before celebrating victory." Her face paled. Exactly as planned. Victor turned to me sharply. "How did you manage this?" "I paid attention," I said calmly. I learned from past mistakes, and from betrayal. His jaw tightened, and for the first time, I saw fear in his eyes. That afternoon, I called a meeting. The board members were present, along with Victor and Lily. I stood at the head of the room. Silence filled the air. I have reviewed recent reports, I began, voice steady. And I noticed multiple errors that could have cost the company millions. Some of these mistakes came from leadership decisions. Victor's face went pale. Lily's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Victor started, but I held up my hand. Let me finish, I said firmly. These errors weren't isolated. They reveal systemic problems caused by arrogance and poor judgment. The board deserves to know the truth before it's too late. One board member spoke. Are you saying Victor and Lily are responsible? Yes, I said calmly. And I have the documentation to prove it. I placed thick folders on the table. Contracts with missing signatures. Emails showing miscommunications. Reports with errors they overlooked. Every small mistake, every slip, every flaw, they were all recorded. Lily tried to interrupt. You can't. Silence, I said sharply. Let the facts speak. You betrayed me once, both of you. Now, your own actions are exposing the truth. Victor looked around, panic spreading. This is impossible. I assure you, it is very possible, I said. Let him realize the empire he built on betrayal is falling apart in his hands. The board members examined the evidence. Murmurs filled the room. Questions were asked. Doubts were raised. Victor's authority crumbled before my eyes. Lily's arrogance turned to desperation. You've gone too far, Victor growled, voice trembling. I've only delivered what was already set in motion, I said softly. Arrogance, greed, betrayal, your own choices led to this. I merely waited. Lily's voice broke. Please, this isn't fair. I didn't. You chose wealth over family, I interrupted. You chose arrogance over loyalty. Now, you face the consequences. The board members turned their scrutiny toward Victor and Lily. Questions, accusations, and criticisms poured in. Their attempts to defend themselves faltered. Their empire, once seemingly untouchable, was collapsing. Ethan appeared at my side, whispering. You did it. They can't deny it. Their own mistakes are destroying them. I know, I said softly. Patience, timing, silence, all led to this moment. Victor slumped in his chair, sweat pouring down his face. Lily's confident mask had completely shattered. You'll regret this, Victor hissed. I already lived regret, I said calmly. You'll taste it fully now. The board members voted immediately to remove Victor and Lily from their positions. Authority stripped, reputation destroyed, their arrogance exposed to everyone. They sat frozen, powerless, finally understanding the consequences of their choices. After the meeting, I stood alone in the empty office. Silence surrounded me. Victory was mine, but I felt no gloating. The satisfaction was quiet, internal, a calm justice. Ethan joined me, smiling faintly. It's over. They're done. You did it. I did what I had to, I said softly. Not for pleasure, not for revenge, but because justice had to be served. Later, I met Lily one last time. She tried to approach me, tears in her eyes. Please, forgive me, she whispered. I looked at her, my heart calm. I don't need forgiveness, I said softly. You made your choices. Now, you face the consequences. Learn from them, if you can. Her lips trembled. I never realized. Too late, I said gently. Let her understand that betrayal comes with a cost. Victor tried to speak, but I ignored him. His empire had collapsed, his arrogance exposed. He had nothing left to say. I walked out of the office, Ethan at my side. The night air was cool, the city lights reflecting my sense of calm. The storm of betrayal, humiliation, and heartbreak that had once destroyed me had ended. I never thought I'd see this day, Ethan said softly. Neither did I replied. But patience, observation, and timing, they are powerful weapons. And now, balance has been restored. We walked in silence, letting the city breathe around us. I thought about the nights I had starved, the cold rain, the hopelessness. I had survived, risen, and finally reclaimed control over my life. The lessons were clear. Betrayal cuts deep, but careful patience, strategy, and self-respect cut deeper. Victor and Lily had been warned through their own actions. And now, they were paying the price. Standing on the bridge overlooking the river, I whispered into the night. Justice isn't always loud. Sometimes, it's quiet, deliberate, and undeniable. And this is mine. Ethan smiled faintly. You've changed everything. Their lives, yours everything. Yes, I said softly. Everything. And now, I can finally move forward. Stronger, wiser, and free. For the first time in years, I felt true peace. The darkness of betrayal, the weight of humiliation, and the sting of heartbreak were gone. Victor and Lily had lost everything, not because of me, but because of the choices they made, the arrogance they nurtured, and the betrayal they committed. Karma had arrived, slow but unstoppable. I took a deep breath, letting the cool night air fill my lungs. The city was alive with possibilities, and for the first time, I wasn't surviving, I was living. I had returned, patient and calculated. I had waited, observed, and acted at the perfect time. And now, their empire lay in ruins, their arrogance exposed, their power gone. I had my justice. And I had myself.